Let's go. Yo. Get up, nah, I ain't a quitter. Toss me the ball, I'm a really big hitter. Big picture, I'm a straight killer. Rising the song to the highest bidder. Got juice, got gas, I'ma move fast. New shoes, new tracks, like who's that? I'm new, come back, better than last. Yeah, it's a new me, never gonna look back. Never gonna look back. Cause damn, I was built to last. You move slow and I move fast. And that's facts.
What's going on? What's going on, good people? How y'all doing this Thursday evening? This is Friday Eve for most and Thursday evening for others. But more importantly, we want to first say thank you very much for everybody that's joining us right now, watching us live, whether it be via Facebook, on X or YouTube or Twitch, wherever you finding us. Thank you so very much for following us, for chiming in, for spending the time with us, because this content is for you. And we do this exactly for you. We're just some sports fans, some diehard Chicago Bears fans that love talking football. And because we enjoy talking football, we decided to create this content and provide it to the masses. And we want to thank you for being amongst the masses that tune in and watch us. Tonight, you are here with your host, the Bishop, along with my co-host, Mr. D Nice. And it's always a pleasure. D Nice, thank you very much, my brother, for joining us tonight, man. I really appreciate you being in the house with me every Thursday night. How have you been so far?
Oh man, everything's good. All is well, man. I'm always elated to get on here and talk Bears. You know, it's Thursday night, like you said, for some folks it's Friday Eve. But welcome to everybody that's watching us. And I said, let's get the show on the road, baby.
Let's get it on the road then. So today, as we all know, we're wrapping up minicamp. So out there at Hallis Hall, they've been, of course, running through everything in shells, but more importantly, just trying to get everything implemented before the veterans are off for the next 6 weeks, getting their minds right and getting ready. This last little bit of vacation before the season actually ramps up for them. So after tomorrow, the veterans will be gone for the next 6 weeks before the beginning of training camp. But the rookies will still be around and in town working on things, working on installs and other things. And most of them will be looking for places to live permanently. Um, but with that being said, there's been a lot of little name dropping over this past week, especially by Coach Ben Johnson on individuals who have pretty much kind of been shining in minicamp, and there was 4 names in particular that he shared with the media, and we're going to go over those 4 names and just kind of touch on, what minicamp has been, uh, what we think that the Bears are looking to get out of minicamp, but more importantly, um, we want you guys to chime in via the chat. What do you guys are looking to hear from the team, but more importantly, see that comes out of mini camp as we get ready to head into training camp? So with that being said, I'm going to go down the line with these 4 names, and then we'll touch on each one of those 4 names. So one of the individuals that Coach Ben Johnson spoke highly of and said seems to be shining in mini camp has been Dominique Robinson. Um, for many, I know there's quite a few that trying to figure out how is Dominique Robinson still on the roster, still on the team. But apparently he's doing something right, that he's caught the eye of Coach Ben Johnson. And it's not just because of his size, and that's one of the reasons why Dominique Robinson has hung around as long as he has is because of his freakish size, speed for his size and everything. So Coach Ben Johnson spoke highly of him and the contributions that he's been making here in minicamp. Um, are you surprised at hearing Dominique Robinson's name at all, D Nice?
Honestly, yes. Yes, I am. Because well, when I heard his name, I was looking to hear cut or release. Just being honest. But to give
I
him
knew
all
it.
the
I
credit
knew
in
it.
the work, to give him a lot of credit, to give him a lot of
Oh,
credit because he's gotten better every season. not good enough to crack the starting lineup, but not good enough to make a whole lot of impact plays on the defensive side. But as a special teamer, he's done very well, and like I said, he's gotten better. He's made his place there on special teams. Coach Allen really likes him because of his size and his ability. This is a former quarterback, former wide receiver we talking about that had been converted to a defensive end. So, I think upon drafting him, everyone in the building understood there was going to be a level of maturation and evolution that was going to take place when it comes down to a guy like this. I hate to call guys projects, but I think that's exactly what he was once he was drafted. A boom or bust guy, a guy that you kind of taking a chance on, and you hope you can get something out of it. You know what I mean? But hey man, he made his mark in the minicamp, in the mandatory minicamp, and that's where it starts for the vets anyway. So hopefully he can carry the momentum on into training camp, and let's see what happens, man. This is a position now, and I'm sure everyone knows this is a position where you know guys can step up and really make a name for themselves because we don't have an impact guy on the other side. Not yet. Not that we know of.
I'm glad
Uh,
you went there because that's my
yeah.
next
So
question to you.
yeah, this is an opportunity for him. Maybe he can catapult this situation into something better. Hopefully he can carry the momentum. And I listen. I hate to talk about guys losing their jobs and things of that nature, but if you're not cutting it, you're just not cutting it. But every year is a new opportunity, and if he's been on the roster for the last three. So this would be
3
year
years.
four.
Yeah.
This would be year four. He's
Yeah.
made the roster all these other years. Let's see if he can make the roster and be more impactful than he has the past three. So I'm
Well,
rooting for. I'm rooting for. I said it last night, and I'm gonna say it again tonight. I'm rooting for any guy that's under the Bears umbrella tonight. As of right now. So this is a position where it's kind of a void there, and hopefully he can come in and make a mark. And if not, he can continue to be successful on special teams.
well, one thing you mentioned the special teams aspect of it, but there's another. He has something else going for him as well. He actually physically fits the mold of what Dennis Allen likes in his defense.
That's right.
So if he can put the size and speed and match that along with the physicality and what's necessary to be able to function at a high level in Dennis Allen's defense, he could very well make the 53-man roster.
Yes, indeed. I mean, if you look at the guy, if you look at
And
him
he's
on
actually improved for what other individuals may think or may not think. If you really look at where he started off from as a rookie to where he is now toward the end of last season when he was able to get in games, he actually
Mhm.
he actually um, made some very good plays on special teams. I think he had a block punt
Yeah, he
in
did.
one game, but I mean, he actually was getting close to getting to the quarterback as well when he got a chance to play some DN. So again, with Dennis Allen, nothing would surprise me because he'll find a way to use the guy if he feel that guy can fit his scheme. So
Yeah.
um,
And if
I'm with you. I'm rooting for everybody as well. Of
man,
course, it's going to come down to 53 guys that's going to make that 53-man
numbers.
roster,
It
and
always
then
comes down to the
the practice
numbers.
squad guys. But for
Yeah.
everybody right now, with a clean slate, because if you go to look up the depth chart right now for the Chicago Bears 2025, there is not one name on the depth chart, which means nobody has a spot right now.
Correct.
So the fact that nobody has a spot right now means that everybody is fighting for a starting role. So that means the floor is open, the field is open. Go in and make a name for yourself. And
Yeah.
actually, I'm glad it's like that
Yeah.
this year, especially because you got new coaches, you got new players, and the coaches, we already know who they are. We know
Yeah.
who the players are on paper, but now the players got to separate themselves from paper to the field.
Yeah, and
Can make that depth chart.
in front of this new coaching staff, everyone has a clean slate. You know what happened last year and the year before that. It
It
doesn't
don't
really
matter.
matter now. It
It
doesn't
doesn't
matter.
matter. It doesn't.
So, and you know, just going back on Dominique, man, you look at him before he puts his hand in the ground. When he runs from the sideline, gets in the huddle, and gets on the field, he looks like he could be. He has the potential to be a very good player. Like if you look
Yeah,
at him, you know, he's a pretty well put together guy. So,
he
you
is.
know, why
Yep.
why hasn't it yet to translate on the field? Who knows? But there's a lot of power in coaching. So let's see what happens.
I'm not gonna go past that. I'm gonna leave it. I'm gonna let it. I'm gonna let it lay right there. I was gonna say something else, but you hit it. You hit the nail on the head. I'm gonna let it lay right there. So the second name that was mentioned by Coach Ben Johnson, and I'm gonna stay on the defensive side of the ball, is a
Mm.
young man that was drafted this year by the name of Mr. Ruben Hyppolite.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Hyppolite is turning a lot of heads at Hallis Hall, especially one in particular, Dennis Allen. This is another guy that fits the mold of what Dennis Allen likes in his defense: size, speed, uh, motor. This guy just does not stop,
Yeah.
and he loves to hit. He shoots out of a cannon, and I'm gonna be honest. I can't wait to see him at that Sam linebacker. You know, that's where they think about using him. That's where he gonna get most of his use. And more importantly, we all know, I know, well, those of us who have followed Dennis Allen and watched his defenses over the years know he likes
Hmm.
to blitz. He loves to
Yes.
blitz from all different positions, especially that linebacker position. And again,
Uh-huh.
Hippolyte fits his mold. So I'm gonna let you speak on Mr. Hippolyte for a moment now, D Nights. Go ahead.
Listen, Ruben Hyppolite, like it was a much maligned pick when it was made. A lot of people, including myself, we all scratched our head and wondered like why. But if you look at the guy's film, the first thing that jumps off is his effort. The second thing is his speed. But the first thing that jumps off when you watch him on tape is effort. You know, he's so fast that he may outrun a play, but he's always coming back to make the play. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is a guy, and I think he's getting because our starting middle linebacker has some soft tissue issues. So I think he's getting looks at all three linebacker spots during minicamp. You know, so this is a guy, and you know, listen, from the beginning during rookie OTAs, we talked about the word versatility, and this is another guy that fits that.
Yes.
He just happens to be a hellified athlete. Now, his main struggle was in coverage. He had a couple pass breakups today, so you know things are looking up. We talk about the power in coaching, and that could be a thing that you know that has helped him through. You know, with through his struggles with defending the pass. So you know, and when he talks like he wants to be great. He talks like he has intent when he steps on the field. He's a student of the game. Another thing that you know we all welcome in the building, and if he
Hmm.
doesn't make his mark as a starter on the defensive side, he's another guy that's going to be very helpful because of his traits in the special teams.
Well, I tell you this, I watched some film of the young man, and I was, like you said, the effort jumps off the screen at you. I mean, this guy motor is just undeniable. The dude is, and like you said, there's been time where he has overplayed the play and had to
Yeah,
get back into the play, and still
yeah,
made the play though. Still made the play.
still
Still a
made the
part of the
play.
play. So, but again, he fits that mold for Dennis Allen.
Yeah. Now, stature wise, you know what he lacks in stature, he makes up with his heart, you know, and with his willingness, you know. So you know, listen, I'm not
Hey,
going to jump.
last I checked, the Hall of Fame got quite a few guys like that.
Yeah, and I think it's a
And I'm
guy
not trying
that
to say that he's gonna be a Hall of Famer, everybody, before y'all beat
nah,
me up in the chat and everything. I'm just
but
saying
there's a
there's a
guy that
lot
play.
of guys that's in the Hall of Fame that
Hmm.
did not meet all the measurables, but this thing called heart outshine, outweighed all of that. So
And there's a guy in the Hall of Fame that's shorter than him, in Sam Mills, that played with just as much heart. You know what I
yeah,
mean, and just as
yeah.
much effort. So yeah, we don't. I don't want to pick on the guy because of his height or whatever, but the ability is what matters. So and he's in his effort. So he's coming with a lot of that. Like I said, he has intent. You know what I mean. He shows a lot of leadership ability too. Once you if you hear him talk.
Hmm.
So listen, man. You know, it's one step closer. I want to say we're probably in the third quarter till training camp. So and training camp will be the fourth quarter, and then it'll be the big show.
Right.
So I listen. This is the time when you want to make your mark. You know, and hopefully we hear a lot more from him when the rest of the rookies resume. So listen, I'm excited for him, and like I said, and I'm gonna keep saying, I'm gonna root for every guy that wears a Bears helmet, especially at these times.
Yeah, I'm with you on that as well. So now we're gonna flip to the other side of the football, which is the offensive side of the football. And there's a young man that's getting quite a few reps right now because Colston Loveland uh, has been down a little bit with some soft tissue as well. So
Hmm.
he hasn't been participating in activities. But this young man by the name of Joel Wilson
Yep.
has. Now, Joel Wilson he's no stranger to the NFL. He's been on several different teams. He's made their practice squads. He has yet to crack the 53-man roster, but the fact that he was mentioned by Coach Ben Johnson speaks volumes. If you've caught the eye of the head coach, you're doing something right in practice. So,
Agreed.
and in all honesty, right now, besides Cole Kmet and Colston Loveland, we don't really have a third tight end. You know, me personally, because I know that blocking is one of the things that's necessary, I
Yep.
wouldn't be against Mercedes Lewis coming back and finishing out his final stint with us. Only reason I say that is more as the elder statesman to help these guys
Yeah.
with their blocking and everything, not far as production.
I get
But
it. I get it. Get
being
it.
an extra coach on the field, but do you tie up a roster spot with an extra coach on the field is the question. But um and that's just my own personal feeling. Just
I
and that's
get
kind
it.
of and it's kind of because I got a lot of respect for what Mercedes Lewis has been able to do over
Heck
his
yeah.
career,
Heck
and
yeah.
if he could finish out his final season, because he has gone on record to say that this is it. This going to be his
Yeah.
last season wherever he plays, and he did actually say that he wouldn't mind finishing it out here in Chicago. He's grown to really love the organization.
Hmm.
He's gotten close to some of the players, especially Cole Kmet, which he's going to be attending Cole's wedding here at the end of the month. So, I mean, I think it would be having a guy like that who can help these tight ends with certain aspects to their game, where and the fact that he know what Ben Johnson likes to do, you
Yeah.
know. So we'll see. That might be that pickup on the last day where they make a cut and say, we need to have this guy in here so he can make sure we got our ducks in a row in terms of our blocking schemes and everything for our tight ends. But if not, Joe Wilson seems to be turning the heads of coaches, especially Ben Johnson. What do you know about Joe Wilson? What can you share about Joe Wilson with us, D-Night?
Joe Wilson out of Central Michigan. He's a Michigan kid. He's born in Michigan. 6'4", 250 pounds, I believe. He's been with four. This is his 15. It's Buffalo, our neighbors to the north, New Orleans, the Giants, and us. So
Okay.
he's been well traveled. He's 24 years old, like I said, and we all know the NFL is a brotherhood. But that tight end position in particular, they've made it known that they are a brotherhood. You know, they don't really focus on your star power or how big your star is or how great of a player you are. You know,
Mhm.
they take in all these guys. All these guys that play the position, they all meet up at I believe I want to say, is it Greg Olson or is it Kelsey? It's one is it Kittle. It's one
Kittle has that camp.
they have a
Kittle has
camp.
the camp.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's Kittle.
They have a camp every year. And you know, all tight ends are invited, man. So that's a wonderful thing. And to
And
hear
Cole
that,
Cole Kmet is a regular. He's been going ever since Kittle started it. So
right, and to hear that this young man has been invited to Cole's wedding, man, that just shows a lot of camaraderie when it comes down to that tight end position. And it's a good thing to see for our tight end room. You know, people thought because Colston Loveland was the draft pick that it may be a little friction and it may be an opportunity to trade Cole for a better defensive end or, you know, some more draft capital. But I think everybody's going to stand strong and hold true. Hopefully, this guy, you know, he does enough to make the roster. But if not, you know, he can keep banging somewhere else. But he made a name for himself today, you know, for lack
yeah,
of a better term. You
yeah,
know, and like I said, if he can carry this momentum on into training camp, you know, it'll be a great thing for him because you listen, the strength is always in numbers. You know, everyone can't be great, but just because you're not great doesn't mean that you can't have an influence on the success of a team. So, you know, hopefully, you know, like I said, he carries on and, you know, he can be an added addition to this ball club. You know,
hmm
anybody that can bring positivity and great play, you know, could be in spurts, you know, because when you are a guy in his position, you know, you want to strike when the iron's hot. You know, when you get your opportunity, you want to be prepared and ready. So this may be the first step for him to do that for us, or it could be just like every other stop he's had in the league. But you know, there could be room for him.
could be. I mean, the fact that his name was mentioned, you know,
Yeah,
that says a lot. You know, not too many guys. You know, it takes a lot for a head coach to mention you. You know, just
but
out of the blue. So
and not just you know not just any head coach. Ben Johnson was a you know he's a tight ends. He was a tight ends coach at one time.
right.
So you know I'm sure he has a special place you know, in his heart for that particular position. So you listen, we'll see, you know, but it's a good thing he had, you know what I'm saying, Ben Johnson threw his name out there and he got noticed today. And hopefully, you know what I'm saying, it'll spark a flame.
Yeah, we shall see.
Yeah.
Well, with that being said, there was one other player um, that's actually been highlighted a couple different times throughout um, mini camp. In some cases, it was some good, and in some cases, it was not so good in terms of um, what the coaches said to him. But again, each day, and this is what people don't understand about what OTAs and mini camp, what that's for. You're stacking days on top of days.
Yeah.
And we have to remember and understand, especially right now with this particular team, we're installing. First of all, we got all new coaching staff, except for the special team side of the football. So you introduce new coaches, which brings about new culture, brings about a new identity. But more importantly, now they're doing the installs. So now
Hmm.
they're having to put the plays in place, and everybody is learning on the fly.
Yeah.
So during this time is when the mistakes need to happen and
Agreed.
should be happening. And we should want them to make mistakes. We should want interceptions. We should want all of these things to take place now so that way they can fix the wrongs so that when the season comes, they are functioning on all cylinders.
Yeah.
So this last player, Kyle Monangai, who
Yeah.
is the running back that was drafted in the 7th round. Again, for some a head scratcher because there was other running backs that fans wanted the Bears to go after way before the 7th round. But apparently they felt comfortable enough with what they had in the running back room, and more importantly, based off of their grade on their board. And this young man was on their board and he was graded rather high. And because he was available, they went and got him. Now, and I say this, and I had mentioned this the night that he was actually drafted. You know, if they didn't like him the way that as much as they liked him, they'd have left him undrafted. The fact
I
that they
agree.
went in, the fact that they went in and got him and used a draft pick on him lets you know that he was definitely on their board and he had a high enough grade on their board to be drafted.
Yeah.
And now that I've had the chance, I mean, I watched Rutgers play the last couple of seasons,
Uh-huh.
and me personally, I wasn't surprised. Now, did I mention him when we were talking about running backs and everything doing up, on different shows leading up to the draft? No, I didn't.
Mm-mm.
But that doesn't mean that he wasn't on. He didn't. I didn't watch film on him as well as yourself. So this young man is really catching the eye because of one thing that nobody thought he could do, and that was the biggest question coming out of the draft, which is, can he catch the football?
Mm-hmm.
And he has been demonstrating here in minicamp that he does have hands, and he is capable of catching the football out of the backfield. Which, for me, who have watched film on him, if he can add that and be consistent with catching the football, he gonna be a problem.
Yeah.
He gonna
Listen.
be a problem. And if you got him and he can catch the football, and with his running style, you already know what Swift can do. And we know Roshan can also catch the football out of the backfield. You got 3 guys that can catch the football out of the backfield, and all 3 running styles are different. That's a problem for defenses.
Yeah, it potentially could be. Absolutely right. Kyle Monangai, like you said, picked in the 7th round. I think a lot of people were elated that the Bears didn't pick a running back in the early round, so that they kind of cheered this pick, because I think everybody knew that a running back was needed.
Yeah.
Not
I
not
just
to
didn't think
say,
we needed one. I just didn't think we needed one in the first round, unless, of course, we could have got the one. If he'd have failed there, then yeah, you take him.
yeah,
But the fact that
understandable.
he didn't,
Yeah, we didn't. I think a lot of people, and I'm kind of, glad that we didn't panic and just take any old guy. You know what I mean?
yeah,
So, but this can prove to be, like I said before, a boom or bust situation. He looks like he has a lot of ability. He looks very instinctive. Doesn't look like a blazer. Doesn't look like a guy that
he's not a blazer, but you're not tracking him down from behind either. That's the thing about
Yeah, I
this
mean,
guy.
yeah.
The, I and I'm not one for comparisons,
Mm-hmm.
but there's 2 guys. One I'm not even gonna mention because he's a Hall of Famer, and I know I would catch it from everybody in the chat and everything. So I'm gonna keep this one name out my mouth. But there's one guy that had a very long and prosperous career in the NFL, and this guy reminds me a lot of him, and that's Frank Gore.
Frank Gore. I knew you were saying
This
it.
young man reminds me a lot of Frank Gore, man. And this dude, what I like most about Kyle Monangai is the fact that he don't mind taking the punishment to the defender. You're not finna stand him up. And you think you're gonna put one blow on him, and that's what? No, you gonna have to. Y'all better come with some troops. You're gonna need some
Right
hats
on.
on the football with him,
Right
because
on.
he's a punishing runner, and you look at him, you're like, well, he don't have that side. Oh, quite to the contrary, yes, he does. If you don't have to be 6 foot, 225 pounds to be able to lay some boom.
Yeah,
You know, this
that's true.
cat. This cat, he looks for the defender,
Low
and
man win.
he don't mind dropping that shoulder, and he got great leverage. That's what I really like about him, man.
Yeah.
He got good, great contact balance. He's got really good leverage, man. So when he drops that shoulder, he knows how to use them pads and get up underneath the defender and punish them more than him being punished with the blows that he receives. So and the fact that he's got good, strong hands, the fact that he hasn't, and knocking on wood, I don't want to jinx him, but he has not had a fumble his entire
Yeah.
college career.
Mm-hmm. And listen, welcome addition to the football team. I'm glad he's shown that he can be versatile with catching the ball out of the backfield. But more than anything, his ability to run between the tackles is going to be needed because there's some uncertainty there with Roshan, and we all want Roshan to be
Healthy
um,
and on this team.
healthy and kind of get our worth out of him. I think Ben Johnson has a plan for him. But the concussion thing is a very serious thing. He missed a lot of time this year and last year with the same issue. So there's some uncertainty there. It's not being spoken upon right now, but it has to be. So Monangai is going to be a welcome addition. He could possibly compete for the 2 spot, but if he's going to be the third, we still have Ian Willer. I haven't seen a lot of him. And the other kid from is it UTEP?
Yeah, yeah,
Deion Haskins, Texas
yeah.
State. Deion Hankins.
Hankins. Oh, you talking about Hankins? Yeah,
Yeah,
the
Hankins.
UDFA.
Now,
Yeah,
and I say this with the utmost respect. I don't know who Travis Homer has pictures of to still be on this roster, man. Like honestly, he could have got cut with some other guys and went somewhere and landed on his feet. Why is he still here? I do not know.
special teams play,
Uh,
and he's special teams play. He's a veteran, but I kind of I'm in agreement with you on that. But I will say this: this might be it for Travis. I don't think he survives this year's 53-man roster. I think this is gonna be it.
yeah, but with Monangai, hopefully, because the rookies continue on, right?
Yeah,
And hopefully he continues to improve. I think the most impressive thing for me when it comes down to him is the way he's handling this tough coaching coming from EB.
he's loving it.
Yeah, I mean he's really like probably behind closed doors. He probably got some choice words, but if you see him on the field, you don't see any bad body language. You see more effort coming out of him because I think he was the guy that Eric Bieniemy said you're
Moving like an
moving
old
like an
man.
old ass man. Yeah, so you know he's taking the tough coaching, and that's one thing that shows his character and that shows his will to be, what I'm saying, a professional football player,
Yeah.
a professional running back at that. So, that's impressive to me. Hopefully, he keeps it up and carry the momentum. Like I'm gonna say this about all these guys. Please carry this momentum into training camp. Anything you can use as a motivation or edge, to keep your confidence going. I ask all these guys to please continue on with that and bring it into training camp because listen, steel sharpens steel. It's something in you that can make someone else better, not only yourself. You know what I'm saying? So keep it up.
Well, I think Kyle Monangai also has enough fuel, considering the fact that he led the Big Ten in rushing 2 years
Yeah.
in a row, and still, unfortunately, for many, you know, they don't respect him as much. You know,
Well,
but that's fine. That's
yeah.
fine. I'm actually glad because I want everybody to have a chip on their shoulder.
And if you think about it too, the Big Ten has some dogs at running back.
I mean, come
You
on,
know,
look, there are two of them. Ohio State had two of them.
I'm talking about every team. Every
Yeah,
team has some dogs
yeah.
at running back. So for
I
him
mean, but
to,
hey, I mean, he led the Big Ten in rushing.
that's what I'm
So
saying. For him to
you know,
lead the
to even lead the Big Ten in rushing,
right,
you got to be able to get down. You got to get down.
yeah. So that's listen, man. That's something right there. That's something right there because
Yeah,
the, the Big Ten has some studs at running back. Seriously.
man. Look, guys, look. I'm on record. Y'all can go back and check the tape. I'm not gonna lie. I was a Ohio State running back fan. You know, I like Judkins. That was my guy. You know, if we had to take somebody early on, you
Mm-hmm.
know, again, I'm on record for saying, yeah, I liked Judkins. You know, but that's not to say that I didn't like Kyle Monangai either. Me personally, I knew we could go in part of the reason why I didn't really jump on a bandwagon so much regarding running back is because, and you know, I mentioned this prior, previous shows. We need to know what the scheme was going to look like.
Yeah.
You know, everybody was going on. Everybody's using the blueprint up in Detroit. You know, as far as Monty and Jameer, but we didn't know what our scheme was going to look like, so we couldn't really say outside of the two running backs that we knew we had automatically, which was Roshan and Swift.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we got to see get an idea of what that scheme was going to look like. So if they add any more bodies to that room, give yourself an idea. So when they waited as long as they did, and when they brought in Monangai, that pretty much told me right then what Ben Johnson thoughts on in terms of the running back, you know,
Yeah.
and, and,
And
and how he wants to how the scheme is going to be.
yeah, and listen, to try to emulate what Detroit had, like you have to understand, Detroit has two stud running backs. You can try to emulate that, but if you don't have the talent to do it, I think you're working against yourself.
Right.
Like Detroit, those like I understand that they're a conference foe or whatever or division foe, but we got to give respect where it's due. Those guys have two studs, versatile studs in their backfield. So to try to emulate that without having, that particular talent, I don't think that's a good
Fooling
idea.
yourself. No, you
And
fooling
Ben
yourself.
Johnson's smarter than that.
Right.
We may see some times where we can utilize a ball control type of offense where we can turn around and run the ball and guys getting 4 yards to touch. That would be great. But I don't think we should hang our hat on something like that.
No, no. I what I see for this scheme, man, I see a scheme where Ben Johnson looks like he really wants to attack the interior of the defense. So, it's going to be a lot of runs between the tackles. Um, if you got to bounce it out, we got guys that can bounce it out, but he looks like he really wants to attack the interior of the defense. He wants to get into the middle and the middle of that defense
Hmm.
and cause havoc which is soften up those edges.
Yeah, and
So
even in the passing game, I agree with you 100%. You are absolutely correct because even in the passing game, that's the reason why you know I think that's another reason why this tight end was drafted because the 12 personnel is going to be in full effect,
yeah.
and we can take control of the seams, the seams in the middle of the field, and it'll do wonders for our play action
Oh,
because
absolutely.
there's
Yeah.
been a lot of talk, in Caleb improving his deep ball accuracy, and Ben Johnson said the number one thing that they want to concentrate on is getting him deep ball reps because the reps is going to contribute to his consistency and the consistency, because that's where he struggled with the consistency part, you
Yeah.
know, and the consistency will aid the improvement. So, listen, this thing we have a direction. And like I said before, that's a very refreshing thing. Not to go against any of the past coaching staffs the last couple of years, but it's a lot of talk, but it wasn't a whole lot of direction. And we can see the light.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, man. One of the things, man, now that we're talking about training camp and everything is what are you looking for coming out of mini camp as we get ready to go into training camp? And you had mentioned that they've been working with Caleb on his deep ball accuracy. What I hope to see them also work on, because he struggled with this last season as well, is throwing passes over the middle of the field. I want to see him be able to be a lot more accurate and attack the middle of the field, which means he got to get the ball out a lot quicker, of course.
Being on
Um,
time.
and it got and it's all about timing and
Hmm.
anticipation. So I'm hoping that they get an opportunity to really work on that as well. And again, another reason for drafting a Colston Loveland is, again, with that 12 personnel, that gives you the opportunity to have a big body target, whether it be Colston or whether it be Cole, where you got big body targets attacking the middle of the field. You got running backs that can catch the ball out of the backfield. So again, that's something else, another way to attack the middle of the field. And then you got LB3, better known as Luther Burden the third, and DJ. You got guys that you can move into the slot and really create some havoc and some matchup problems too. That's why I'm really hoping that what I want to see coming out of mini camp going into training camp is Caleb's accuracy, not just downfield, but across the middle. If he can command across the middle and that downfield accuracy, um, I think we're in for a very explosive offense.
And
What-
it's funny that you mentioned that, Bishop, because I think either yesterday or the day before, Ben Johnson kind of got on Caleb for being late, for being late hitting the running back out of the backfield.
Good,
Yeah,
good.
so you know the focus is on the timing, and for him to be what you talked about, those guys, because timing is everything. Because if you're late, cross the middle, nothing ever good has come out of that.
No, you can get a receive you can get your receiver, whether it's a receiver, a running back,
Hmm.
tight end. You can get them hung up.
Yes,
You can
sir.
get them hung up out there. That's the quickest way to have a guy going to the tent to get checked out.
Mm,
You
I
know,
swear. I
so
swear.
the accuracy has got to be there, but the timing, you got to anticipate
Hmm.
and get that ball out. You can't stand there and pat that ball, 3-4 seconds.
No.
You got to get it out. So
Take the
um,
plays the defense give you sometime.
yeah, absolutely. That's why I'm really hoping whoever's dealing with soft tissue injuries get healthy and get ready. It's going to be imperative that LB3, because he hasn't really performed since um, first day or two
Okay.
of rookie mini camp. He
Yeah.
hasn't he hasn't been on the field with the guys at all. So he's, as far as I'm concerned, he's behind the curve
Yeah.
in terms of timing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Timing. But again, this is when we want all this to go on.
Yeah,
We don't
yeah,
want this to go on in August and September and October. This is the time for if it's gonna happen, let it happen now.
yeah, yeah. And this also can show these guys where they need to invest their money when it comes to their bodies. Let's get a nutritionist. Make sure your nutrition is in order. What are you doing? You know, are you stretching properly? And when you get up in the morning throughout your day, what are you doing? What type of treatment are you getting? Oh, that's going to be important. And these younger guys who are new to the league, because this is the ones that are really suffering from these soft tissue issues right now, got to learn what it takes to invest in their bodies.
Yeah, I
So
think that play when he fell on the ball, everyone thought he had the wind knocked out of him. I think that was the play that kind of did him in.
did he crack
He,
a rib or something that we
he
don't know
fell on the
about?
football. I think they said groin. I'm not 100% sure on what the injury was, but they say
Okay.
it happened, when he fell on the ball.
All right,
So he,
LB3, I need you to tighten up, man. Come on,
hey
man. Tighten
man,
up.
we waiting on you for
Yes,
sure.
sir. I want you to, I'm ready for you to act a fool.
But in his absence, we've gotten a chance to see Olamide Zaccheaus, which is like Zaccheaus is a guy I'm kind of familiar with because I think he cut his teeth here in Atlanta with the Falcons. That's the first time I heard his name with the Falcons, and he made his name here with the Falcons. He got a nice start with the Falcons. I did it. I believe he did maybe 2 or 3 years, 2.5 years, or maybe a full 3 with the Falcons, and then he went on to Philly. He and Swift are high school teammates. So he went to Philly when Swift was there.
Okay.
Swift left. He went to Washington. Then he ended up coming back here again to, meet up with Swift. So it's a good story, but we had a chance to see him, catch the ball and go up the field. So that was refreshing to see. We're very confident in the first two guys in the receiving room. It's good to see that the third or fourth receivers are getting a chance to show what they can do and show that they understand what's going on out there on the field and the ability to catch and run. It's always a wonderful thing, especially when you have guys out.
Yeah. No, I'm with you. So that's my main thing. In terms of what what's the expectation, and everybody out there who's watching right now in the chat, if you don't mind, if you can chime in, what are your expectations? What do you want to see um, from the players heading into training camp? Any particular player and what you want to see from that player? Share that with us in the chat. Greatly appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
With that being said, man, let's shift gears here for a moment.
Let's go.
This we Last week we talked solely we talked offense.
Mm-hmm.
This week, let's touch on the defense some. So I caught the interview with Tyrique Stevenson,
Uh,
and I have to say that I was I don't like to use the word impressed, but I'm gonna use the word impressed. I was impressed at the way he handled the interview in terms of taking accountability.
mm-hmm.
Admitted that, hey, I messed up, and
Yeah.
and basically came out and said I owe it to my guys to show them that I messed up by redeeming myself this season. But it seems that Al Harris has seemed to have made an impression upon Tyrique Stevenson, as well as their entire defensive back room. But Tyrique Stevenson, because I guess you can, in lack for better terms, got called out by Al Harris as soon as Al Harris was hired. Um, but for me, I'm really excited to see what this defensive back room is going to look like in terms of what all of these guys are going to do collectively. You know what I'm saying? And
Mm-hmm.
how, and I think I'm most excited on how they're going to be used because, again, I have followed and watched Dennis Allen over these years. You only know that these guys are going to be moved around and used in different ways. Are you excited, man, to see what this defensive backfield is going to look like and what the defensive backs, how they're going to be used? What's your thoughts? What do you expect from the defensive backs?
Um, I expect a lot of flying around, a lot more physicality out there, a lot more discipline. I should have said that first. I think this unit is going to be a lot more disciplined than the units that we had in the past, even though it's the same cast of characters pretty much. But um, our former regime ran a more,
Bend don't break.
yeah, it was more of a, I don't want to say passive, but it was
That's what it was. Why you being nice?
I don't want to say passive, but it was we're gonna see what you can do.
Well, what you gonna call it then,
Now,
D Nice? What you gonna call it? If it ain't passive, then what is it?
conservative. But I think, you know, this group and the guys up front are gonna make it their business to try to force the offensive hand, and getting the ball out a lot faster and forcing mistakes upon the other team's offense. We're going to be a lot more aggressive. I expect to see a lot more interceptions this season than I have in the past. And to get down on Tyrique Stevenson, listen, and this is for everybody. The guy made a mistake. The fact that he's still on the team shows that he's been forgiven. So let's forget that play. I mean, it's going to be played once we play the Commanders next season. The replay is going to be there. There's going to be a lot to talk about concerning that play that week. But the guy understands he has a clean slate. He has a very good relationship with Al Harris. These are two South Florida guys. And anybody that knows these South Florida football players, they have a camaraderie that's, unbelievable. Especially
Second to
the
none, brother. Second to
especially
none.
especially the defensive backs.
Yes. Yes.
So, you know, Al Harris is going to play, a big brother role with Stevenson because he's a guy because he has an aggressive nature about him to the point where he does find himself out of position a lot of times, and this is when he's in structure.
Right.
But I always say this: it's always good when you can reel a guy in than to try to pump a guy up and make him be what you want him to be. You know, and Stevenson, he's maturing as a player, so he knows and he's understanding when to hit that switch on and off.
Yeah.
So it's always good to be able to talk a guy down than to have to motivate them and pump them up, because everybody don't have the words of motivation. Everybody can. That's a special skill. But if you have a guy that you can talk down, when he needs to come down, you got yourself something. Um, Terrell Smith, listen, he did an awesome job when they suspended Stevenson and Stevenson was out. He did an awesome job playing the corner. He's versatile. He can play both right and left, and he also has experience in playing safety. And I think it's going to be a lot of times there's going to be some three safety out there, and he can be a wild card out there with
Mm-hmm.
Kyler Gordon playing the slot corner and Stevenson and Johnson, playing man in their position. So I'm very excited about him. I like him. He's another guy that gets better every year. Another Big Ten guy. Out of Minnesota. So, he weather conditions not a problem for a guy like him. But he's very instinctive. He reminds me a little bit. Bears fans, do not kill me. He reminds me just a little bit of Peanut Tillman.
Ooh.
Just a little bit. Just a little
Okay.
bit.
All right now.
I mean, he does. I don't think he's as big as Peanut is, but his instincts are there. And if everyone remembers Peanut's first year playing cornerback, the first thing that jumped out outside of those long arms of his is his instincts. He's a very instinctive player. And to go back on Tyrique Stevenson again, Tyrique plays a position, that cornerback position, you're not supposed to hold on to very much in the memory bank. Every play is new. So hopefully he's not, had playing mind games with himself, thinking about the Hail Mary situation.
I
Hopefully
don't think he
he's
is.
hopefully he's let that thing go. and he can come out and be who he is. And I think he's a dog, but you have to listen. Every dog needs discipline. So
That's so true.
yeah. So I think he's going to have a very good year, and I think that secondary is going to be much improved. And having Brisker back, he's a guy with something to prove too. I think he was on his way last season to being what we all want him to be. It got cut short, unfortunately, because of concussions. Now we were all of the adage that the Bears just might have been holding him out, but he said himself in the interview that he just could
He
not
wasn't
go.
ready. He couldn't go.
He
No.
couldn't do it. So I appreciate the honesty from him. And throughout the season, even though as bad as we wanted him back, we did not want him to force himself back, knowing that he wasn't ready to play. Because bad things happen when it go down like that. So
I
you
like
know,
the fact, Darius, that he went into detail about the different exercises that he did to help strengthen his mind. The,
hmm
in terms of the part that was affected by the concussion, the different what type of exercises did he need to do to help retrain and strengthen. So I was impressed with his interview as well, and the fact that he seems to really be anxious and ready to go. What
hmm
I like most is the fact that he let it be known, I'm not changing the way I play. I've been playing this way my entire life, and this is how I'm going to continue to play. So, with that being said, I mean, you gotta respect that, you know,
absolutely,
and playing the
absolutely,
position that he plays. You don't want a guy all of a sudden trying to change up how he play football. At this juncture, at this point stage of his career,
yeah,
when he's been playing like this all since he's like he says since he's been 6 years old.
yeah. It doesn't really work well if he does, if because you get out there on that field, and if you're trying to make adjustments to your play, you find yourself second guessing, and he who hesitates is lost. Especially in these days and times, these guys are absolutely too big, too fast, and too strong. So if your mind is not all the way there when it comes to making a tackle or making a play on the football, you're not going to win. So listen, I'm glad that everyone's back, and look. Hopefully we can continue to allow the injury bug to escape us, and hopefully that translates throughout the whole year.
Yes, brother.
OTAs,
Oh
mini
man,
camps, training camp, regular season, playoffs, Super Bowl if we get there.
yeah, I'm with you on
You
that,
know,
brother. Yes, sir. I'm praying, man, that we can avoid that injury bug, man. Uh, across the board, key players, backups. Period. I want us to be as injury free as possible because, especially because we got our bye week is week 5, so that's
yeah,
pretty early on into the year to have a bye
hmm
week, man. And it's not like it's not like we got an easy schedule either. So we
yeah. I
we got
wasn't too
to.
happy about that, man.
Yeah, I me either. I prefer a later in the season bye week, but the unfortunately the NFL had other intentions,
You're
you
right.
know. But we just all we can hope, man, is that these guys again are investing in their bodies, are following their meal plans, you know, and making sure that they're getting adequate rest, but doing enough stretching and doing all the things necessary to make sure that they can avoid the injuries as much as possible. But I mean, man, with that being said, I mean, we getting ready to have some football, man. In 6 weeks, we start in training camp, partner.
Getting
six
closer,
weeks
man.
six
Getting
weeks
closer. We're one step closer. Every week we're another week closer, man. I'm excited, man. I'm hearing a lot of lawnmowers, smelling the grass, man. It means we're getting close.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm already, man. I'm already. I'm not gonna lie. I'm checking the schedule. I have not been Well, I'm not gonna say I haven't been in Chicago in the wintertime, but I haven't attended a football game in years at
Yeah.
Soldier Field since it's been cold. And I'm already right now trying to touch base with a buddy of mine that I know go to the games and get them tickets. Uh, which game I can try to attend. I got a couple on my schedule that on my calendar that I'm looking at like, yeah, I might try to. Do I want to sit out in Soldier Fields in December? But
Yeah.
I may have to.
Well, one game you might want to think about going to because we heard today the news broke, and I think I've been telling people for the longest that a familiar foe has decided to join the Pittsburgh Steelers.
That ain't enough for me to go sit in the stands and watch that, man. I'm gonna watch that. Look, I'm gonna watch that ass whooping right on TV. And what I mean by that is we whooping their ass. They ain't whooping
Yeah,
ours.
yeah, we got to give to Aaron, man. This is gonna be the last go round for him for
I
sure.
want
Gotta
to
make sure.
let's give them the proper send off, man. We got to give them
Yeah,
the proper blue and orange send off, man.
yeah, we did it for Brett Favre. We did it for Brett Favre.
And we
So
got to do. We got to keep it consistent. Then we got to keep
absolutely,
it consistent. Put them cleats in his
absolutely,
ass too.
yes, indeed, yes, indeed. But yeah, that's the news that broke, man. So
Yeah, I saw that, man.
Steelers are on the schedule. So hey, and it's gonna be a time when it's cold too. So let me know how it turns out. Usually in December, man, it's like it's still like 80 degrees in Atlanta, man. So
Oh well, look, bro, I'm down here in San Antonio, baby. We in the 70s, 80s as well in December. You know what I mean? So that's
yeah,
what I'm saying. If I go back to watch a game in December, there's something to it.
yeah.
There's something to
I
it.
I was thinking about taking a peek at training camp.
Yeah, I thought about
I was
that too.
thinking about that. I was thinking about that for real.
But
But
they got a new system. They've been
yeah.
running the system for the last 2 years. It's not real difficult. Within the next, this is what December, June 5th. In the next couple weeks, they're going to have availability for training camp tickets.
Yeah, I'm
You
gonna
can
look into
actually
that.
so go online. You can look it up, and
Mhm.
it'll tell you the day that they're gonna should give you a date when they're gonna go on sale. And I
Okay.
think you can sign up where you get an email or something that morning. Because I did it once before, and I actually got tickets 2 years ago for training camp, but it messed
Okay.
around and rained that morning, and they canceled it. They canceled it
Uh,
for
yeah.
outdoors, so we couldn't go inside. So
Yeah.
unfortunately, but I'm open for that myself, bro. I would definitely be game for if I could get some tickets for training camp. Yeah, I'll go
Yeah.
back to catch a training camp. I would too.
Yeah. So uh it's a lot to be excited about, man. I mean, we know we have to temper our expectations on a lot of things, but hey, if nothing else, football is one step closer to
I
being
ain't
here.
tempering nothing.
Football is one step closer to being here. And the Bears playing Minnesota on Monday Night Football. We're another day closer
Ooh,
to
baby, look,
that.
there's two
Lord.
things that's gonna happen that night.
Mm-hmm.
One, we gonna win. We gonna beat Minnesota. And two, we gonna win on Monday Night Football. When the last time had the Bears won on Monday Night Football, bro?
It's been a little minute. It's been a little minute.
We win that game on Monday Night Football. Look, brother, I'm here to tell you now, sky's the limit, man. I'm going out on a limb. Sky's the limit.
Hey, it'll be a start. It'll be a heck of a start going against
Well,
the team that
well,
swept us last year, man.
well, one thing for sure though, man, we can't afford to come out the gate slow either, though. Not
Nah,
with this schedule.
yeah,
Not with this
that
schedule.
part of it. Listen, that's gonna be one thing I'm gonna be looking at, man. How we come out the gate, because last year every game pretty much we came out the game slow, even the ones we won.
Yeah,
So I'm looking for that part to improve.
same
I
here.
mean, that's the part of that's another reason why Ben Johnson is here. And that's another reason why the coaching staff has been assembled the way it's been assembled on the offensive end. For us not to come out with these slow starts, because I think when guys come out slow like that, I think it's guys not totally believing in the game plan. One, and number two, not knowing where they're supposed to be.
Yeah.
So, I think that'll be fixed.
I think a lot of things are going to be fixed, man. But like you said, we gotta be smart. I don't like using the word tempered, but I'll agree with you. We do need to temper our expectations. I'm just a little excited. You know what I mean? I might.
Yeah, because like my whole thing, I don't like that fall from grace, man. Last year was a long fall, man, because we were all drunk the Kool-Aid and we were prepared to have a hell of a season, man, and it just dipped on us, man. It dipped big time. So, hey,
I'm gonna say this, man. I think we as fans got slipped a Mickey last year, and there's some things that occurred that we just don't understand or quite remember. You
yeah,
know, with that being said, we didn't got that out of our system now, so
yeah,
we we gonna be all right.
we gonna be all right.
We should be
We
all
gonna
right.
we gonna be all right.
Well, look, man, it's been a wonderful Thursday night hanging out with you as
Absolutely.
always, my brother D Nice. For
Wow.
everybody out there in the chat, once again, thank you for spending your Thursday night with us. You can be spending it doing anything, and you chose to spend it with us, and we don't take that lightly. Again, we thank you very much for spending your time with us and for following us and giving us your feedback and being supportive for every show, not just our show on Thursday nights, but every show here on Chicago Sports Podcast. We want to give a big shout out and thanks to Trax, who made all this possible. If it wasn't for him and his vision and ideas, there would be no Chicago Sports Podcast. There would be no Bishop. There would be no D Nice here on this channel. So we want to thank Trax. Thank everybody that's part of the CS Sports Podcast family. Thank you, D Nice, as always, for being so gracious and spending your Thursday
Likewise,
night
brother.
with me. Um, but more importantly, to the Bear Nation, as we get ready to approach training camp, go out, start getting everything in order. Stock up on your beer, stock up on your pops, get all your snacks. Fill the cupboards, fill them up, because before you know it, September gonna be here, and football gonna be kicking off. And you don't want to be trying to run to the store to get those things then. You want to get them now. Get them now. The ages, the dates on them is gonna be fine. The stuff is gonna be fresh for every Sunday. But guess what, y'all? We got football coming. We got football coming, y'all. Training camp in 6 weeks, y'all. Get ready. Get ready. Order your jerseys. Get all your swag. Get everything you need, y'all. Because we got football coming. I'm excited. My man D Nice is excited. Trax, I'm speaking for him. He's excited. We're all excited over here at Chicago Sports Podcast. I'm about to get out of here. I'm gonna let D Nice close it out with pleasantries as always. But I just want to say to every one of you guys, thank you again. We are all blessed to be a blessing. Make sure that we are a blessing to someone. Pay it forward if you can, and tell your loved ones that you love them. Because one thing for sure, tomorrow's not guaranteed. With that being said, I'm the Bishop. I'm gonna get up on out of here. I'm gonna let my man D Nice take it off from here. Peace and love to everybody. Bear down, y'all. Go ahead, D Nice.
Bear down to all the Bears fans. For you guys that's been watching and hanging with us all night tonight, if you haven't already, please like and subscribe. Hit the notification bell. We hit 3,000 subscribers just recently, and we had a winner of the contest. It's Mr. James Childress. Shout out to him.
Who's in the chat with us tonight? James Childress, what's going on, baby?
Yeah, shout out to James. He won that jersey. Look, it doesn't end there. We're doing another one at 4,000, and we're gonna have another jersey available for the winner. So listen, come on in here, kick it with us. We just Bears fans talking Bears. We love to hear opinions from the fans, you know, and we love to hear opinions from our rivals as well. We ain't discriminating. We want all the smoke. So good night, everybody. We're gonna let you guys get back to watching the finals. It looks like it's still pretty interesting. Peace up, bear down. See you on the next one.
Bear down, y'all.